Armand Bayou is a nature center and it preserves over 2,500 acres of land. In 1974, Armand Bayou is the first one who helped create Armand Bayou. It was going to be developed into a neighborhood, but he was the one who decided to preserve this area for people. Now, once you come out of the admissions office, you get to see the red-tailed hawks. They are birds of prey, and you can tell by their beaks and their talons. They're really sharp to help catch and kill their prey.
Okay, so we're going to show you some various plants and animals that are essential to our ecosystem. So, come on!
This is a trifolia orange tree. These oranges are non-native plants at Texas. And also these oranges, once they're ripe and everything, they're actually quite bitter and they don't have that much flesh and it's full of seeds. So I don't think humans would want to eat that, but birds do. So this is a tree. You can see how it's leaning, that they're going through a drought, they're not getting enough water, and that causes trees to lean sideways. And if they still don't get enough water, they'll soon fall down.
That nest up there is one of the nests from a mother yellow-crested night heron. It was actually built last year, and she sat up there for a month or so and completely ignoring the pathway underneath her. Her excellent nest building skills have lasted throughout several hard storms in the past year. It doesn't appear as though she'll be returning. Armand Bayou only has enough space to host one alligator, and that's him. Quite active today. If you look, you can see sort of drapey, hairy, gray stuff on the trees in this area. This is called Spanish moss. There used to be a bunch of Native Americans in the area who originally thought that Spanish moss came from a beautiful Indian princess with lovely red hair, who was desired by many different tribes and many different suitors. She, however, was very upset because nobody loved her, they only loved her hair. So she went to the highest peak of the mountain and she cut off all her hair and threw it into the winds and scattered across the land. So if you take a piece of Spanish moss and you scratch away the outer gray layer, you'll find the red hair on the inside.
This is a palmetto palm tree right here, and it is an indicator plant, which means that this plant only grows in wet ground. So people who are living here can see that the ground is wet, so it might not be a great place to build a home on wet ground.
These are box turtles. There are oriental and three-toed box turtles. They have high dome shells, and under each shell it has a hinge in the front and the back. And when they're scared, they can close up their shells so nobody can eat them.
This was built by volunteers at Armand Bayou for people who love to watch birds. People travel here from all over the country and the world to come see the birds of Texas. Through these holes in the metal, people can watch birds without disturbing the environment and get pictures and videos of birds.
This is a place where people can come in and host their events. This is inside the interpretive building. If you look around, you can see the paintings. This is where some artists come. They come to Armand Bayou for inspiration and, well, to paint the scenery at Armand Bayou because it's beautiful here.
Most of these from here on over I caught between 1977 and 1984. And these I caught between 02 and 07 in Texas and in Puerto Rico. In fact, my house is a list. I've got my house and my garden certified as a monarch way station because I have so many milkweeds of different species planted there. And in fact, some of the first customers I got when I started planting my butterfly garden about 10 years ago. Oh geez, and now I really feel old. That they were monarch. Plant native plants. They're much tougher, less maintenance, and they're well adapted to the area. And they also support the wildlife better, including butterflies.
This is a Japanese honeysuckle. It's an invasive species, which means it's not native and it's living in Armand Bayou prolifically. This plant smells really good, and deer and various animals eat this plant.
Armand Bayou has many educational opportunities for both Girl Scout and Boy Scout troops here at Mays Pond. This Saturday, a Girl Scout troop is observing the pond life here at Mays Pond at Armand Bayou Nature Center.
Here we are at the bison enclosure where we have two magnificent beasties. This is bison number 1, and overfeeding is bison number 2. Everybody loves the bison. They're magnificent beasties.
If you look close enough, you can see that the bison is shedding its winter coat.
Right now we are standing in the forest ecosystem at Armand Bayou. Armand Bayou Nature Center has 3 major ecosystems. This is the canopy of the forest. This is a very wooded area with lots of trees. In the distance you can see the second major ecosystem here, which is the prairie. Armand Bayou's third ecosystem is the bayou, which we will be at later in the day.
This is the second ecosystem, the prairie, and as you can see, it's humongous. Armand Bayou is unique because it's a nature preserve in the middle of an industrial area. Beyond the prairie, you can see water towers and the Endeavor apartments and can hear cars honking in the distance.
As we travel down the Ladybird Trail. The Ladybird Trail is one of the many trails Armand Bayou has to offer.
The Ladybird Loop is one of the best ones to see the 3 different ecosystems at Armand Bayou: the forest, the bayou, and the prairie.
The Ladybird Trail was named after Lady Bird Johnson, who was here on the trail's opening day. This here is a Jerusalem cherry plant. It is a non-native plant here at Armand Bayou. Its berries are actually toxic. And this plant is actually a house plant in European countries.
Right here is a young Chinese tallow sapling. Chinese tallow is an invasive plant, very well known in the region. As from the name, you can tell it's from China, and it's very well suited for the region. It will often grow up and obscure sunlight for many of the native species, like oaks. And it's one of the few plants that will actually change color in the fall. So when you're driving around October and you see all the beautiful, lovely foliage, just stop and think it's an awful invasive species.
So this bayou is actually called Middle Bayou before it became Armand Bayou. In this bayou itself, it's a nursery for the small fish, the reptiles, and the frogs. This is critical to the Gulf fishing industry. Without this nursery, the fish can't grow up into a safe environment and then gradually swim out into the Gulf.
In addition to being a great place for animals and plants, this bayou is home to lots of opportunities for recreational activity. Kayakers and canoers, along with an electrical pontoon boat, come out here to explore the wildlife.
Just where we're sitting here, we can see a water bottle, some plastic, a ball, and several pieces of wood and plastic just floating on the water where it's been abandoned by different boaters. And there is an activity that occurs every spring called Trash Bash. We participated in this year's Trash Bash. It's in the local Houston area only, where different volunteers will come and get together for several hours on a Saturday with materials provided by different companies to pick up and clean up the Houston area.